Well, we just arrived in Atlanta.
Atlanta.
It is day 7 of our Southeastern Sordid screening tour. We have 4 screenings here, a GLAAD party, a TV interview, a radio interview.
And Louise H. Beard
is joining us.
And our publicist, Brian. We're so excited.
Now, if you look very closely, you can see Ann Walker right there making her way toward us.
She had to go in the elevator because there was an unfortunate incident on the escalator that involved her falling and breaking a wrist.
Well, look who it is here in Atlanta.
Hiya. We're here in Atlanta, Georgia. Where's the bathroom?
Priorities.
Oh, you didn't find a bathroom?
I didn't.
Oh.
I thought I'd wait till I got over here.
Well, here we go.
Yeah.
Did you get your seat?
I got my priority senior and physically challenged seat.
Emerson stayed there.
And Deb's walking up and down the runway.
Yes.
Fit guest.
Oh, we're here in Atlanta with our friend Matt Belcher, who invited us to the GLAAD event here. And
Ann Walker's here.
yeah, Ann Walker's in the house. And y'all go to GLAAD.org. This is a wonderful organization, GLAAD.org. And we won a GLAAD award for Southern Baptist Sissies. And they do such wonderful things.
This is Brian Gelden. He's our publicist who's making us well known across the country.
It's been such an honor to work with something to finally get to be with you. I'm on the leadership council of GLAAD Atlanta, so I'm working with the smaller business sponsors to let even the smaller businesses come in and be able to donate to GLAAD. So I'm excited about it. I live here in Atlanta. We're glad to have Del and Ann and everybody in here.
So you would say you're glad that we're here?
I'm glad that you're here.
GLAAD. You have to say it a little longer because it has 2 A's.
Glad.
I'm glad.
At GLAAD, we have 3 things that we represent. Obviously, the LGBTQ community, and we do it through the media. So LGBTQ people are under attack. I'm going to talk to you about that a little bit. The media is under attack. It's fake news. It's not right. When we get up every morning, this is the environment we're walking into. And what we do, one of the things that we changed dramatically on November 9th is we started our rapid response team back up. And we also realized that we had to fight differently. It's a different world, and that requires different tools to fight with. And having a rapid response team, we also included an investigative wing to it. The Supreme Court is now going to hear the religious exemption case, which was already ruled on in our favor. If we lose this case, this will open the door to a tremendous amount of discrimination for the LGBTQ community at the hands of people's whims. And we're at GLAAD have convened around this, and we'll be putting out a very, very strong campaign.
Louise is playing paparazzi here at the GLAAD Atlanta event. But it's such a great turnout. Ann Walker holding court. So it's been a pretty fantastic event here at GLAAD Atlanta. CEO and President Sarah Kate Ellis spoke, and it's really inspiring to hear them talking about the work they're doing in media and how much that goes along with the message of A Very Sordid Wedding. So sort of a cool meeting of causes. We work in our art and they work in the media, and Louise writes the checks. And we all do our part where we can, when we can.
To the cult classic film Sordid Lives. Stay tuned.
I strongly believe that Evelyn will regret packing that tongue on ice.
What does Evelyn have on you anyway?
Well, it has to do with her witnessing a justified crime that I was an accomplice to years ago, involving a goat.
Oh my God, was it sexual?
No! And that is all you need to know.
I love that. Audiences fell in love with Del Shore's play-turned-cult film, Sordid Lives, in 2001. Since then, that story spawned a TV series, and now 17 years later, a movie sequel, A Very Sordid Wedding. Please welcome to the show, creator, writer, director of the Sordid series, Del Shores, actors Ann Walker and Emerson Collins. Welcome!
Thank you so much.
Excited. Del, for anybody who's not familiar, I kind of set it up, of course, but talk about the series. First of all, how did it get started? started, and then how did it become what it is now?
Well, you know, in 1996, I wrote this tiny little play in a 64-seat house, and Miss Ann Walker was one of the original cast members, and we made this little movie, added a few stars to it, Olivia Newton-John, Beau Bridges, Delta Berg, Bonnie Bedelia, and we had no idea what was to happen. We played film festivals, and then in Palm Springs it played for a couple of years, and here in Atlanta for a long time, and it just became this cult sort of phenomenon, and with this little tiny movie that cost $500,000 to make.
Wow, good for you. What's the premise so our audience can get caught up?
Well, you know, we're in Atlanta, so everybody can relate to your crazy family.
Yes.
So it's just going home. I mean, we all think that they're crazy. Maybe they think we're crazy.
Exactly.
But it's the first one was about this young gay actor who was in Hollywood, and he was having to return to his grandmother's funeral, who had tripped over her lover's wooden legs in a seedy hotel room while committing adultery. A good Christian woman who just went on the wild side, got, started hanging out with the bar people. And so the daughters are trying to cover it up, and they're fighting. She's sort of the wild one, and Bonnie Bedelia's the uptight one. And then he comes home, and of course they have a brother in a mental institution who likes to dress up like Tammy Wynette. So it's just a simple little story. Just a simple story.
Right.
Typical family.
Typical family. And Emerson, now you co-star, serve as a producer, and here we are, as we're saying, the sequel. And all these years later, why is it still so relevant?
Well, it was really interesting. The first film was about a coming out story, and 17 years later, it's now what happens when marriage equality arrives in that same small Texas town. And so Del set the new movie, A Very Sordid Wedding, right after the Supreme Court decision. So now that colorful cast of characters that we've fallen in love with, we see how they and their church and their town respond to same-sex marriage.
And for you, this has to be just, such a wonderful role. Tell me about, are you surprised that it's come, full circle? Here you are, 17 years later?
Yeah, and I'm no older.
You are. No, you're not.
But it was great. We thought it was going to be just a play, and then we not forget about it, but then we make the first movie, and it's so well received. And it just became a cult hit. And then we did the TV series, and I have been so lucky and blessed to be able to stay with it. And but my character, she is a fun girl.
Yeah,
she is a fun girl.
Everybody's favorite aunt.
Right.
You want an aunt like Aunt Lavonda,
right?
Someone who supports you, as we talk about that, unconditionally, just loves you unconditionally, and and cusses a lot.
Of course,
a lot.
Yes. And what's the feedback been so far about? Are people just so happy? Your fans are so happy to see it back.
It's been really amazing. This is our 22nd market to open in. We've had sold-out premieres in 17 different places, from Waco, Texas to Toronto and Canada, and the laughs are as big everywhere that we go. So it's incredibly rewarding to see that the fans are really embracing this as good or even better than the original.
Wow.
And this we're having 4 screenings here. We started with 2. They sold out 2. They added 2 more. They sold those out. Now they've moved us into a bigger house for the later screening. So there are some tickets. As of yesterday, they opened up some more tickets. So y'all grab them.
Grab them while you can.
It's going to be a fun night.
You can walk up.
You don't have to purchase them in advance. Okay, and I know Lance probably put the website in. There he did. It's A Very Sordid Wedding. If you can see it in Atlanta tonight, tomorrow night, simply visit the website, averysordidwedding.com for more info. And we're so happy that they're taking the time to stick around for our roundtable. More Atlanta company coming up. You don't want to miss that. There you are. You don't want to miss that.
So we're in the middle of our big press tour day.
Yes, and we are reminded of Leslie Jordan because he has an Emmy, but they have lots of Emmys.
Like all of them.
Look at those Emmys.
I feel like they've got enough that we could borrow one.
I wonder if
permanently.
I missed one if I just took
Not
one.
just one.
Were you one for you and one for me?
Yeah,
one
just
for
one each. Well, maybe. Just not here.
Just make up shit. I wanted this for Queer as Folk, our best writing of the Babylon episode.
That sounds perfect. And then we're getting ready to go to NPR. You have to behave again.
I know.
Live radio.
It's really hard. It's all day long. I can't cuss.
But you did so good on Atlanta and Company.
I did. I really watched. I tempered. That's a good word. I tempered
Well
my
done.
language.
Yes.
Tempered.
Our roundtable discussion on I Love You But. I wanted to make a joke about just loving butts, but it didn't seem appropriate.
No, it was more serious, although we had some fun with it.
We did.
Yeah.
With Amy Cowley. This is Closer Look. I'm Rose Scott.
And I'm Jim Burris. It's been 17 years since Brother Boy, played by Leslie Jordan, put on an orange dress, smeared on lipstick, and displayed a stringy bleach blonde wig, all in tribute to the late, great Tammy Wynette.
I just did that this morning.
Well, here with us to talk more about A Very Sordid Wedding in some of the themes it tackles is writer-director Del Shores. Also with us, Emerson Collins, who produced and acted in the film, and Ann Walker, who fans will know as Lavonda. Welcome to Closer Look.
Well, thank you.
Thank you so much for having us.
Before we get into A Very Sordid Wedding, we have to briefly touch on Sordid Lives. Del, take us back to the late 90s when you were turning that stage play into a movie. What was the message that you wanted to get across?
Honestly, I just wanted to tell my story. It really reflects myself and my mom and how I came out to my Southern Baptist family. Now, my grandmother did not trip over 2 wooden legs and hit her head in a seedy motel room, and while she was committing adultery. That was not her funeral. But I just wrote what I knew, and then the message sort of came along with it. So I was mainly wanting people to laugh.
You know, and also one of the stars is Ann Walker, who played Lavonda Dupree. I just love that name.
Thank you.
Were you surprised at all by the Sordid Lives' success and that it still enjoys?
Well, you know, I was in the original play in '96. People kept coming back. It wasn't just that they wanted to see it, but they wanted to bring their friends, and they came back and back and back. So when we did the movie in 2000, the same thing happened, especially in Palm Springs, because the gays and the grays took up the mantle of being our fans. And they just flocked to it.
But we were shocked at that crazy success with Palm Springs, and I think the reason it widened is because Palm Springs is such a vacation mecca. Yeah. So it was like their kid. You know, they said, you got to go see our child, Sordid Lives, down at the Camelot Theaters. And it ran there for 96 weeks.
Wow. Emerson, I want to bring you into the conversation. Talk about the first time you saw Sordid Lives.
Well, it's really funny, you know, I encountered Sordid Lives as just a gay boy growing up in Texas. I was finishing at Baylor University, and I moved to Dallas to start doing theater. A friend of mine said, you have to sit down and watch this movie. Now, it's possible that I was slightly in an altered state when I experienced it for the first time. So there is a character named Juanita in the movie who only has 14 lines. And from that first viewing, I was obsessed with her and am to this day. And it was several years later that I met Del. So I came to Sordid just as a fan, like many other Southern homosexuals who felt it was a part of our story being shown on screen.
Well, let's turn now to the sequel, which has its Atlanta debut tonight at the Midtown Arts Theater. A Very Sordid Wedding is the story of what happens when marriage equality comes to a small Texas town, and that town's just not quite ready for it. So Del, why this sequel?
I thought if I'm going to return to these characters, I want to see that they have evolved. I want to show what has happened in this world. When I started percolating, I thought, how would they respond to, you know, gay marriage happening? And at the time that I wrote the first draft, the Supreme Court decision had not even come in. And when that came in, I thought this unlocked the whole thing, because we saw, you know, not too far off from here in, you know, rural Georgia, and we saw in all of these rural places, it's not too far off that someone would have an anti-equality revival, you know. So and I wanted to also just show how there are certain people who have evolved in a positive way.
And for A Very Sordid Wedding, you're also producer and you act in the film. Was that a challenge to do both?
It is, but there's an interesting thing. Actors always complain about, you know, you're always waiting on someone else to hire you, and I hitched my wagon to a big star, and so if you write me a good role, I help make your movie. Seems like a pretty good deal. And so I do have this really, really great, ridiculous character of a bisexual serial killer, you know, in scenes with Leslie Jordan, and there's just no way to say no. Oh, well, it was inspired by me in real life.
Also a necrophiliac.
That minor detail I was saving. But
I mean, there's the spoiler, Anne. Thank you.
Way to go, Anne.
Yeah, I know.
But it's extremely exciting as an actor and a producer to be able to make projects that are great and stretch you as an actor, but that also you can be passionate about the message. That what he's done so brilliantly is make this very timely. We even saw this week with the Supreme Court choosing to take up the case of that bigot baker out of Colorado in October that really reflects some of the characters in this film. How there are people that are growing and affirming in great churches, and then there are still people being dragged kicking and screaming into the modern equal rights era.
Let's talk about chemistry. I love to ask actors and producers about chemistry on the set. How was it?
I loved it.
And if you didn't like it, now's the time to
No.
get it all out.
We've all been together, the core group of us, and it's like coming home to a reunion, you know, when we get to work together again.
It was independent, low budget. Did you make every dollar stretch?
He did.
Stretched it to breaking.
This
I mean,
one-
stretched every dollar. You know, but we were really fortunate. A bunch of investors came on board because they're fans of the project, but also they're passionate about the message of this piece. I think the brilliance of Del's work is that he's able to give you a really thoughtful exercise through a comedy that makes you laugh. And so we felt an onus to make sure we spent every dollar on the screen. We shot 12 days in Canada, where they have a huge tax incentive on employee labor, and then 3 days in Dallas to use the real locations of the big drag show at the Rose Room. So we worked really hard to make sure you see every dollar on that screen. Lord knows it's not in our pockets. We just finished here at WABE 90.1, Closer Look with Jim Burris.
Hello.
And I'm Real Scott.
Thank you so much for having us.
They were
It was
good.
fun. You guys
Radio
are so
time.
cool. You guys are so awesome.
You know, we all used to have radio shows, but
Yeah.
like a lot lower
6
than what
years.
y'all do.
Yeah, oh yeah. Much
Oh, we've
more.
only been doing this for about
I
6
was-
months.
yeah, just
so-
6 months.
Yeah.
Well done.
Well,
Thanks
been
for
around
having
for
us.
us.
Yeah, no, it
That's
was
great.
a lot of fun. Thank you all for coming in.
And thanks for starting with Till I Can Make It on My Own, my favorite Tammy Wynette
Yeah.
you know
song.
how hard
Yes.
that was to find? That wasn't a
Oh.
live version. It took probably close to 45 minutes.
Oh
Wow.
no, you should have just called me.
I've
I've got it in my
Got 'em
computer.
all.
Next time.
Well, we're off to Atlanta screenings.
Yay!
Dell is
Where
driving
are
Miss
you?
Daisy.
Oh, hi!
Oh,
I'm Miss
hi!
Let me look at my hair.
The Widow Walker is
Yes.
Brian.
Yes.
We are on our way to the first of 4 screenings. We almost ran over a valet, and Ann Walker wanted to bring a cocktail in the car.
Well, is there anything wrong with that?
Well, it's illegal,
But other than that, it's totally fine.
It's always been illegal, and I've always done it.
Well, hi, Brian.
we would have had evidence.
Do you see? Brian's been in New York doing amazing publicity for us for months and months and months, and this is his first time on location with us. Is it everything that you hoped it would be?
Everything and more.
Uh-huh.
And more. I feel like
Because I'm here.
emphasis on the and more.
Yes, and more. Right.
Well, we're super thrilled. Out on Film's amazing. The 7 o'clock screening is sold out. The 9:30 probably will be by the time we get there. We have VIP parties and miles to go before we sleep.
Can I just say one thing?
You can.
Donald Trump is an asshole.
Yes, amen. Amen. I would be talking more, but I have to focus.
For the
Yeah.
first time.
I have to focus and drive. It has not worked out the other way for me.
Not so far. Well, we'll let you know if we get there. If there's more video after this, that means we made it.
Welcome to Del Shores, Emerson Collins.
This is Miss Ann Walker, who plays LaVonda.
Thank you very much. I love playing LaVonda. She's a part of me. She is.
And this is Emerson Collins, who plays the serial killer in this, and he's also the producer of this movie.
Hey, we're so excited to be here. I will tell you that this is our 22nd city to be in, but it was one of the top 3 for us to book. We started this conversation with Jim a long time ago, and after Palm Springs, where we premiered it, and Dallas, where we shot it, this was the next most important place for us to get to. So we are thrilled to be here tonight.
If I'm not mistaken, this is our 18th sold-out city premiere for this movie. So that's all. Y'all just keep down the screen, so thank you, Jim, for that. We also in the audience have Louise H. Beard, who's one of our producers. She also plays Aunt Little Niecy. You'll recognize her after.
Theater is a new LGBT theater in town. They do tremendous work. They're doing the Sordid Lives as part of their new season next spring. So we're giving out a pair of tickets to their production of Sordid Lives. So Dell and Kruger are going to ask a Sordid Lives question.
All right, here's the trivia question.
It's a Lavonda trivia question. There was a discussion about Brother Boy who used to do Loretta Lynn. Lavonda was contemplating about You Ain't Woman Enough to Take My Man and what country artist would do a good cover. Okay, that was the first hand that went up in the blue shirt right there, right there. Who was it? Trisha Yearwood. So, what was that in the movie?
Trisha Yearwood could just sing the shit out of that song.
There you go. Thank y'all so much.
You got the money, how long did it actually take to make the film?
Well, we started making the movie before we had all the money. So we found a 2-week window in Canada. We shot 12 days in Winnipeg, 11 and a half, and then 3.5 days in Dallas. We did the whole movie in 15 days. And there was a 2-week window in Winnipeg where all 32 actors were available. And the production company that we worked with up there was also available. So we had enough money to cover that part and said, well, we'll get through that and figure out how to pay for Dallas afterwards. So it's a combination of incredible investors, the Indiegogo campaigns that so many people contributed to, product placement, and then begging.
This is for anybody. What I really like about Sordid Lives in this film is it's such a great ensemble. It's not a one-person show. It's everybody has their moments. Talk a little bit about reuniting most of the people and about the new faces this time.
Well, we do have some new faces, and they're fabulous, but...
We have some new faces on some old people.
Okay.
I got my new face back in 2006. Anyway, so we are really like a family. We've been together most of us since 1996, and lovely people have come to us along the way.
Did you actually leave the Hinkles out of this production?
Oh, you know, I did. I don't know why, but
Our family appreciates
is that your? Yes, you're a Hinkle, right? You know, the reason all the Hinkles are like, I can't believe you made us trash, and I'm like, well, when I was growing up, there were 2 trashy families by my Aunt Sissy's, and I once asked her, I said, you remember those trashy people that lived by you on Truett Street? And she said, which ones? Yes.
What was your inspiration to reference Princess Diana?
You know, that is good. Well, first of all, Louise Beard, my good friend here, is obsessed with royalty. So I knew so much already about it, and anything I didn't know, I just had to call Louise. And I was at her house, and I saw all that royalty, and I thought, God, it would be so interesting because you always have to give Juanita something to be fixed on, you know? And so I just did it, and it just felt right.
Why do you think the South responds so well?
Well, I always say, you know, all I have to do is, first of all, go into a red state and we're alternative programming. So, you're welcome. And it's my pleasure. And I just feel like y'all get me. I mean, you know, this is my dirt. You know what I mean? We come from the same dirt. So I don't have to explain to y'all why someone lifts up a pie plate and looks on the bottom. You get it. Yes, sir.
Did you have to get her to say the word fuck, or you just love to say that word?
That is my favorite word.
So you're from Longview?
But my family is still in the Longview town.
Tell them what those queens said in Dallas.
So one of the only complaints I've overheard in the lobby of the Texas Theater in Dallas, these 2 guys walking out, and this queen clearly from Longview said, well, I take umbrage at that reference to Longview. Say, you might need to simmer down, sister.
Thank you all for coming. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you, Jim and Adam. Thank you so much.
That is so funny.
Ann Walker is carrying that cocktail from the after party into the second screening.
Del Shores contacts you and says, do you want to screen the sequel to Sordid Lives? The answer is yes!
And this Ann Walker, y'all. Miss LaVonda.
If I'm still standing, I'll be answering questions.
We can hold her up. It's not the first time.
That's true. That is very, very true.
There's a couple people on the bar line, so I just want to take a moment to say, those of you that haven't been out on film or that are only going to see the big movies, I want to say a special thank you to Jim and what they do, because, 17 years ago, nobody had heard of Sordid Lives. It was because of film festivals like Out on Film, giving it a home and helping it find an audience, that here we are able later to sell out houses full. So please consider buying an entire festival pass for the festival when it comes this fall, because that helps find the next generation of LGBTQ filmmakers and films and storytellers so that you can find the next Sordid Lives. So genuinely, give them your support, because it's because of them.
So, you don't have a mic, you can't just mutter.
I've been drinking.
So it was pretty easy to get this made financially?
Yeah, absolutely. Just $1 million fell from heaven, and we said, let's make a movie. No, it was as you can see, LGBT filmmaking is still a challenge, even with such a historic franchise like this. So it was an incredible group of angel investors.
And we've been very lucky with this, and there is so much love. But I have to say, there are some amazing angels, and one of them is Louise Beard. She has supported my work financially and in spirit and in everything. And she was a great little niecey as well. I have little niecey. Our production company is called Beard Collins Shores. We always say she's our beard.
I'm the beard. And proud of it.
But thank y'all so much tonight. We so appreciate it.
I feel like it is safe to assume that this vehicle is coming to our screening.
I love this. Sorry I missed church. I've been busy practicing witchcraft and becoming a lesbian. Oh, love it.
Stop videotaping me!
Run, Del Schultz, run! Run!
Hello! Hey, honey!
Oh, look at y'all!
Hi there!
Walking in through the rain.
Yeah!
A little damp.
It's raining!
It certainly is. Louise Beard, you don't even have an umbrella.
I have one I'm holding.
Oh, it's good. Good. It does a lot of good in your hand.
You know what? Lacquered hair holds.
Del Shores, Emerson Collins, and
They said your name.
Mr. Emerson Collins, who produced this movie, also plays Billy Joe in the movie The Serial Killer. What a nice turnout! Audience number 3.
And here we are at the VIP party with Out on Film.
I know, we're so excited.
Screening number 3 sold out. And look, they made it so cute.
There's a wedding cake over there.
They made a little wedding cake. Out on Film. After party time.
Hey everybody, thanks for coming out tonight. My name is Jim Farmer, I'm the festival director of Out on Film. Thanks for coming out tonight. This is our 30th anniversary of showing LGBT films, so thanks for supporting us.
We are so happy to be here. Y'all, the other 3 screenings have just been so receptive, and we always feel the love when we come to Atlanta, so thank you for that.
Well, Atlanta, we did it.
We did it.
We sure did.
4 screenings.
4 Q&As, 2 VIP parties,
Houses.
a radio interview, a TV interview.
Just lots of love. That's what
So
I felt
much
here.
love.
Didn't
Oh
you?
my God, yes. Oh
Yeah,
my God.
such good people.
So many good stories.
And you got to carry a cocktail from the restaurant into the Q&A and back.
It was one.
Yeah, well, she said it was water.
She and I told the same lie at the same time. This woman, as we were walking in, Anne had a glass, and she said, "What's in that?" In unison, we said, "Water."
Well,
No
you know, you
liars.
never leave good liquor in a glass.
Amen.
No, I hid mine behind a curtain over there because you can't bring in red wine.
That's a little harder to
that's
sell.
tough.
I say cranberry
That's
juice.
Yeah.
All right, Atlanta, Out on Film. Thank you guys so much.
We had a great time.
Thank
Say
you.
bye.
Bye.